All right, I think we're about ready to get started. We just have a short little presentation we're going to do to just introduce everybody to who we are if you don't know. But I wanted to mostly thank everybody for coming. This is super exciting for us to have the sign out in front of the door. Literally, we've been doing this since 1992. I've been here since 1994, so this is 30 years for me, and it's the first time we ever had a sign. So yay! So super exciting to see our name in lights, so to speak. And again, we just wanted to have a little celebration of that fact that we have this new space that's working out great to have people together, and a new sign, and just kind of share a little bit about what we've been doing over the last 30 years, but more recently. So again, we were established in 1992, and we were the first environmental finance center that EPA ever set up. And based on the fact that there's now 29 EFC awards, I would say that it is successful, and they put out, I think it was about $100 million for EFC awards this past year, of which we got some of those. So I would say that it's been pretty successful. And we are part of this Environmental Finance Center network that's about 8 universities that we collaborate all the time. And we signed the agreement in about 2000 here in New Mexico. And that agreement is now in place, 24 years? So that's a pretty lengthy time for universities to very collaboratively, and we have never been in competition with each other. We've never had any issues, so it's really cool. We fit UNM's service mission, so what we're doing is out and about. So you won't see us teaching in classrooms, you won't see us locked away in a lab doing basic research, but you'll see us out in the community. All 50 states, all 5 major territories, you'll find us everywhere. James and I just got back from American Samoa a couple weeks ago. I think if you polled everybody in here, we've all been to different states over the last several months. So we're here, there, and everywhere. And water is basically the foundation of every community. Think about what it's like not to have water. And if you don't have water or wastewater treatment, stormwater removal, how bad life would be and how much more difficult. So that's kind of where we're at, is what that foundational element of every community. So that's one of the reasons why it's so important to be out and about, because if communities don't have good drinking water or the ability to treat wastewater, it's pretty bad. So we do that by giving direct assistance to communities, like one-on-one, working with them to help with their problems. We provide trainings to groups of people, both in person and online. So we've, since COVID, greatly expanded our online offerings. We didn't do as much of that before, but we have learned to be very good users of all the technology platforms out there, and then helping them access financial resources. There was $50 billion added for water infrastructure into the bipartisan infrastructure law. There had already been many billions available, so there's 50 billion more. So we're trying to help get some of that money out into the right hands. So just a bit of a summary for the last fiscal year. We had 10 new awards for $10.9 million. We submitted 16 for $13.1 million, research expenditures of 5.6, and we generated $1.025 million for F&A revenue for the university. Upcoming for FY25, we have 9 new awards in various stages of setup, and anybody who has worked with UNM knows that things don't happen overnight, so it takes a bit of time to get everything set up, but we have 9 new awards that are in process, and it's almost like a revolving door because there seems to be almost new requests for assistance all the time. So right now is a really flush time to be in the water world, so we've had lots of requests for additional, so there's going to be, if we did this a couple months from now, the 9 would be probably a lot higher. So just some upcoming things. This is just a couple of highlighted areas. We're doing some work with the small training and technical assistants. So this is, by small, they mean anything less than 10,000, which is about 90% of all water systems across the country. So we're only leaving out people like Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, but in New Mexico, it's almost everybody else who fits that. We have a budget of $5.56 million. We have a bunch of partners on that, universities and others who are on the project with us, and we're focusing on compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. We also won Priority Area 2 for wastewater. It's kind of an odd situation where the water group gives a little tiny bit of money for wastewater, so we were the winners of that. And so we'll be focusing on small wastewater systems there. And really excitingly, we had to do a 10% match, and as you can imagine, with a $5 million budget, that's a hell of a lot of money, way more money than we could do through any kind of in-kind or cash match or anything. So thankfully, TEF was able to come in, and we were able to get money through them to make the match, which is like, that's the Technology Enhancement Fund, I think is what it stands for, but it's the state of New Mexico set up a way to create matching funds to bring extra money into the state. So it's super cool that if you have a project that needs a match, like now there's a place to go to get those funds. So super exciting that, you know, we were sweating bullets like, okay, how on earth are we ever going to come up with a match? And if it hadn't been for TEF, and we got in right under the wire because they have quarterly, isn't it like quarterly or every other month, whatever it is, like deadlines. And we found out about this proposal right at the time the deadline happened, but they let us sneak in there.
Steve
So
was very helpful.
Yes.
When you got those, did you go straight to the state, or is that through UNM?
It's through UNM, and then UNM, like there's a portal at UNM where that goes into the state, and then you compete with, you know.
If you go back and look at my emails to the faculty, you'll see.
Oh,
I realize that there's a TF application. It goes through the VPR's office and ends up landing at Dave Hanson's desk. Dave and Ellen represent the UNM proposals at the state committee. We have a very high success rate, so anybody who's thinking of it.
That's a quarterly decision, so, okay, great.
And they're pretty forgiving on deadlines.
Yeah, which is thank goodness, because we were really nervous, because if we've missed that, we would not have been able to get in, like do the proposal before the next quarter, so it wouldn't have worked for us, so thank goodness we were able to hit it. So again, what's really cool about this is because the money is New Mexico, even though this is a national, all 50 states, all 5 territory project, all of our match money will be spent in New Mexico. So that's going to allow us to give like way extra services to New Mexico above what we could have done with the EPA funds. So that's really cool. It's the same work, but it'll be a bunch extra work in New Mexico. So this one is really cool as well. We teamed up with Angeli from CCEE, and she's going to be the PI, I'm going to be the co-PI on a project to do innovative workforce stuff. So together we were able to come up with an idea and submit the proposal, and it was really competitive, but we were able to win one, which is great. And we teamed up with 4 other universities, I think it is. It's Arizona State, Wichita State, Syracuse, and Morgan State. And each of us is going to have a cohort of students every year, so it'll be a total of 150 students that'll go through this program, and they're going to get out and about in the community. We're going to actually pay them under this, and they're going to help communities with issues. So it could be the community needs a map, they could help make a map, or they need a website. I think some of the universities are going to help with things like that. So whatever the water or wastewater system needs. And then we're going to focus a bit on what climate change means for each of these various states, because of course what climate change means in New Mexico is different than Maryland, is different than New York. And then we're going to have opportunities for the students to meet every other month. They're going to meet. So they'll get to sit down and talk virtually with the students from another university and share what they're doing. And at the end of the year, we'll have all the students for that year's cohort get together and kind of share. We were hoping we could bring them in person, but the $600,000 budget was not enough to bring, you know, a bunch of students, 50 students every year together in one place. So unfortunately, it has to be virtually. And this is kind of building on a partnership that Angeli and I have on an air project, where we were given an opportunity to bid on an air project, and it was supposed to be EJ and air, and that's as much as they told us. And like, good luck. And what do I know about EJ Air? Not a whole lot. So between AJ talking to Angeli and saying, hey, Angeli, got any ideas? And she's like, yeah, I got this great idea about the South Valley in Albuquerque, who is very much an EJ area for lots and lots of reasons. And so we're doing an air project that we have some helpers here as well. Jamie has been working on it for, gosh, a couple years maybe?
Just a year.
Seems like it's been a couple years.
Well, I'm still doing it.
And we've also submitted a proposal. I don't think we've heard back on that yet, but there was a proposal that came out that was almost the exact thing we were doing in our project, which seemed really odd because when we submitted it, they said how much they liked our project. And it's like, well, did we have anything to do with that? I don't really know, but it was really interesting that the scope of work was almost identical to what we were doing in the South Valley. So we've submitted hoping we can continue that work on another project. So tribal work. Matt, do you want to say a few words about tribal work?
Oh, I don't know if I do. It's on the poster. Yeah, but we have a lot of programs going on with the tribes right now. As you can see, we've been working with them since 1997. I've been with the program since 2004, working with tribal nations in EPA Region 6, and kind of our cornerstone of that is with EPA Region 6 out of Dallas, the direct implementation program for the Safe Drinking Water Act. And when we started working with tribes in 97, you know, they really didn't operate their own systems. They were relying on technical assistance providers to do the job for them. They were scared to touch the disinfection pump and even the control systems. And so we kind of started from the bottom up, you know, and giving them the information they needed to do the job, you know, giving them some tools and the training they needed, and you know, we administer the drinking water operator certification program for Region 6, you know, to build that capacity internally. And that's what we're all about at the EFC, is building internal capacity of these small communities to do the jobs themselves. You know, we don't want to do the job for them, we want to teach them how to do it. And so that program has been going on a long time. I think, you know, at UNM, you know, we've had almost $5 million in funding since 2013 on that drinking water program. Just last year, we kicked off the wastewater program, where we're serving tribes in Region 6, 7, and 8, helping them get infrastructure funding for wastewater systems, as well as building the technical, managerial, financial capacity to operate and maintain those systems. You know, we've had a couple of other projects come in on lead service line inventories and emerging contaminants for Region 9 and Region 6 that have just kicked off, and we have the potential for PFAS sampling at all the wastewater systems in EPA Region 8, and so a lot going on with that program. So,
And I think just that long history just shows like how that trust relationship that we've built up with the tribes over the years, and how we've protected that very carefully about making sure that we are as respectful as possible, and that we do all we can to work with them. And one thing I'll share is we had a student working on a project who wanted to look at compliance for drinking water systems, and we wanted her to focus on non-tribal systems for what we were doing, and she was really interested in tribal systems too. And I said, well, you're welcome to do that as part of your project. It's just not what we need. So, well, I'm sure the compliance is way worse. And I said, no, you're not going to find that, because we've been working with the tribes for so long. We know compliance is good, but she didn't believe. She did the data, and she's like, wow, their compliance is great. It's like, yeah, because we've been helping them for so long, and as Matt said, building up their capacity so that they're not violating a lot of regulations. They're meeting the reporting requirements and that sort of thing. So it's that long history of just helping them help themselves that has been really good. So some innovation things. We're always trying to be innovative, because that's what keeps you fresh and interested. It also helps bring in money, because most of these grants will say, well, what are you going to do new? You did that last time. What's new? So we're always trying to innovate. So a couple of new things. This isn't super new because Clay's been here a couple of years, but a while back we did a grand challenge project for water. And we only got $10,000. None of it was for staff. It was all for students. So I say it's got to be the most impactful $10,000 that we've ever spent because we were introduced to Clay, who's sitting back there in the corner. You can wave. And Clay was an animator. I will be brutally honest, I did not even know we had a fine arts program in UNM. I didn't know what they did. I didn't know anybody over there, but we teamed up with them. And they said, we have this great student who's doing animations. He could do an animation for you. So Clay did an animation. We thought it was fantastic. We're like, hey, if you don't have a job, maybe you want to do a few more animations. He said, sure, I probably can work for you guys a few months while I'm looking. And then after a few months, we're like, Clay, how about full time? So here he is, a couple years later. Clay has done an amazing job putting together animations for us. And we have 435,000 views of the materials that are online. So not just our animations, although that's our big ticket item. We have some videos, we have some podcasts, so all collectively 435,000 views. And I guarantee you we did not have 435,000 people view anything else we've ever done. So it's a really cool way to share information. And after this, we're going to actually play on a loop some of the animations that you're welcome to watch some of them. And you can also go to our YouTube channel and watch any of them. So I will run into people who say, hey, yeah, I've seen your stuff online, we're using it. So it's just a great way to broaden the audience that, we're reaching other people that we wouldn't normally reach with our usual stuff. So that's pretty exciting. We also have educational videos and webinars that we record online. So again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and see what's up there. This year we added this new thing that EPA is super excited about, as are we, of buying some equipment like drones, for example. If you've ever noticed, water storage tanks are tall, and they're tall for a reason, because pressure is related to height. So that's great that they're tall, except when you try to inspect them, climbing up a storage tank is not the safest thing to do. As Matt will testify.
My supervisor does not know that I climb snow.
Yeah, we keep that quiet because you're supposed to have a lot of gear and all these things.
I have all the gear.
So we're not going to ask whether you use it or not. But if you get drones, you can inspect the tops of the tanks with the drones so that nobody has to climb up them. There's other things that you can use drones for, so we bought some of those. We bought some, or we're buying actually. We haven't bought it yet, but we're buying those. We're buying some leak detection equipment. We're buying some line location stuff. So we have a whole bunch of equipment that we hope to use when we go out in the field, but also water utilities can borrow it. So for free, if they want to, use some of this equipment to do something, a leak detection or whatever, they can borrow it from us because they can't afford to buy it themselves, nor does it maybe make sense if they're going to use it once for them to go buy it versus if we have one single point. So that's exciting. We've also bought reference books for operator certification, water and wastewater. And we place them in libraries across the US and in the territories because that can be a barrier for folks. Like the books are anywhere from maybe $50 to $150 a piece. And some of these operators just, they're making a minimum wage or volunteering even in many cases, so that's a big barrier. To get a couple of books is costing you a lot of money, and their systems won't buy them for them. So we've picked libraries that are near operators who might need them, and then we place the books there. They can check them out for as long as they need, and then have free access to books. The territories have in particular really liked this because it's hard for them to get materials, so we put them in Guam and CNMI, and we're going to put some in American Samoa next time we go back. And then we are also leading the way in green infrastructure asset management. So usually what we think of is the gray stuff, the pipes, the tanks, the metal, concrete. But there's also green stuff that actually does a really good job for stormwater or source water protection. And if we don't pay any attention to it, then it's not going to do what we want. It's not going to work well. So we're trying to blend that into our asset management. So I'm actually going next week to a conference to talk about it, and we've talked about 4 different conferences now. So this is like a big, new, exciting area for us as well. So in conclusion, Basically, we would love to continue collaborations. We think that opens up great areas for, all parties, because it brings ideas to us that we don't have ourselves. We bring ability to be successful in proposals because we have a super high success rate. So we bring one side, you guys bring the other side. And we would love to build in more opportunities for engineering students specifically. We have had luck getting other students to work with us, but it's been harder to get engineering students. So we would love to explore ways of maybe building more opportunities for our engineering students to get real world experiences and for us to take advantage of them. And I thought before we totally conclude, I would just have all of us introduce ourselves so that you know who is here from the EFC. And I don't think I ever said my name. I just assume you all know who I am. But I'm Heather Himmelberger. I'm the director of the EFC. And like I said, I've been here from '94 on and took over as director in '96. So you can tell I actually like what I'm doing quite a bit, or I wouldn't still be here. And it's actually probably why I'm still in New Mexico, because I was supposed to be 3 years and out. And we came for my husband to go to law school at UNM. And our plan was 3 years in New Mexico, back to Pennsylvania where we were from. And 3 years in, I'd already had this job. I really liked it. We loved the weather. I didn't know the sun shone other places. It never shines in Pennsylvania. So it was like, we have maybe 3 days of sun, and here there's 300 days or whatever. So anyway, I fell in love with New Mexico, and I'm still here in both my job and my location. So, and I'll pass it on to the other Heather.
The other Heather Sissons. I'm the program planning officer here. I am our administrative staff member. I help us with all of the paperwork in the UNM systems, getting the proposals in, helping get the grants set up, helping maintain them and close them out at the end.
And Heather's here most of the time in the back.
Yes.
So when all of us are out and about, you'll be able to find Heather. So
Yeah, I'm
look for her.
primarily in the office.
And Matt.
I'm Matt Ziegler, program director for the tribal program. If you're interested in working with tribal nations, I'm happy to help you set up a meeting or, give you some access to them. We have long-standing relationships. I've known some of them, over 20 years. So I have some great relationships with them, and looking forward to keep doing it for a bit.
Haley?
Haley Hedrick, I'm a project manager here. I've been here 6 years, and I do training technical assistance along with project management, mostly on the water side, reluctantly learning wastewater.
Wastewater's more fun.
It is, but that's one of the great things about working here is there's always a new project every couple of years. You're always learning. There's never the same day every time.
My name's Mark Ham, I'm a research engineer. I'm one of the two, I think, current engineering students that started here as a student and just stayed because it's awesome. I do training, technical assistance, focus on water loss, asset management, GIS mapping, that sort of thing.
Shannon Pepper, I am a graduate of the Geography Master's Program here at UNM, and I started working with the EFC 3 years ago, and now pretty much focused on, I'm doing trainings, I'm doing some community organizing, technical assistance, also running and hosting this green infrastructure webinar series. So I'm super interested and focused on the stormwater, wastewater side of things, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Clay?
Hi, I'm Clayton again, and I of course make the animations, but I also assist with the production of other educational materials like podcasts or educational videos that aren't animations.
I'm Bruce Thompson. I'm on my way out from civil engineering. I've been here for a while.
Oh, I think I'm next. I'm AJ. I'm a research engineer. I am the other engineering student who started here at UNM. Met the Southwest CFC through a senior design project. Really liked the work they were doing. I am a former wastewater operator, former wastewater compliance officer. I work in a lot in the space of training operators, doing a lot of developing educational material, podcasts. I help Clayton with scripts for videos and stuff like that. I'm also going to start, and like Haley said, we do get a lot of cool opportunities to work with new stuff. We're going to do I'm gonna attend an AI conference here soon and see how water is integrated into artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we're just trying to stay on the curve with and all that.
And we have Ryan, I think you're the only other EFCer.
Sure. Yeah, Ryan McGee. I've been specifically just with the Southwest EFC for almost a year now. I've worked in the broader CWE, Center for Water and the Environment world, previously doing administrative work, and I'm also a graduate student in the Water Resources and Planning program. So been doing a lot of work related to lead service line inventories in New Mexico, working lots with the state, working lots with bipartisan infrastructure law stuff, and I'll be doing a bunch on small systems pretty soon as well, so yeah.
And then online, we have a couple of folks. Dawn, I don't know if you can hear us. If you can unmute and just say hello.
Hi everybody, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm
Yes.
waving.
Yes, we can.
My name's Dawn Knoll, and I've been with the EFC for about 18 years now. I've been a remote employee for about 16 years, and I am a project director, and most of my projects are wastewater focused at this time. I did a lot of water for the first probably 15 years of my career, and finally we got some money for wastewater. It's always been my passion, and so we are excited to be able to be serving small systems on the wastewater side as well. So it's an exciting time at the EFC, and we're growing, and we're seeing lots of opportunities for outreach and assistance to these small systems. So it's a great time to be a part of the EFC, and we're really looking forward to what's coming. I was just working on that new contract for for small systems wastewater before this meeting started, so always something new happening.
Yeah, Dawn and I are the crazy ones. That wastewater was always our passion. We did water reluctantly, so now we're happy to be back doing wastewater. Let's see, Mark. Mark, are you there? Well, Mark Ogrentz is one of our folks who's doing a lot of computer-related stuff. He's been with us for, gosh, I'm trying to remember, 8-10 years, something like that. Let's see, Tucker, are you there, Tucker?
Yes, I'm here.
Say hi, Tucker.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tucker Calden, and I've been with the Southwest EFC for maybe 4 years or something now. And I do a bunch of technical assistance and training, mostly with water first. I'm a certified water operator, and been doing some wastewater stuff now too. And I was in person in Albuquerque there for a while, but I actually just moved up to Billings, Montana about 2 months ago, and I'm leading the tribal wastewater work for EPA Region 8 up here. So trying to make some connections and do some work up here.
And Region 8, for those who aren't familiar with EPA, is like the Rocky Mountain states, so Montana, the Dakotas, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah. It's like those, 6 states, I think, that are in the Rocky Mountain region.
A lot of territory.
Lots and lots of territory. So Tucker is going to handle all of that. All of that. Small little area. And then who else is on? Sammy. Sammy, are you able to join us? Hey, Sammy.
Hello. Hi. I'm Sammy Stroud. I also just started working remotely, like literally this week, from Oregon. But I am the communications and outreach specialist for the EFC. I've been working full time about a little over a year, but I was also I met them through the Grand Challenges, like a different side of that. So I was a master's student in the geography program, and then ended up working here. So yeah, I pretty much do like the marketing, branding, and kind of wear some different hats across different projects.
Yeah, I should have mentioned in addition to Clay, we got Sammy, and we also got Joni. So Joni Palmer, who's not here today, is a full-time staff member, and she joined us from the Grand Challenge. So we got 3 employees out of doing that project. So it was a good $10,000 well spent, I would say. So I think UNM's investment was pretty worthwhile, and I think the 435,000 views is a direct result of that 10,000, because I don't think there's any way I would have ever made the connection were it not for that project. And the one element of that project was you had to reach out across campus. Like, they required you to have at least one other partner who was not engineering. So we reached Joni in the community, what's it called, the community regional, yes, community regional planning. And then we reached out to James Stone in Department of Fine Arts, and that was our team. And to their credit, they didn't know me. Well, Joni had met me once at a class, but James didn't know me from anybody, and like, sure, I'll work with you. So, you know, it was great that UNM does have people that are very willing to collaborate and, you know, try new things. So, you know, we really appreciate them. They brought a lot to us. So with that, I think we're just gonna, if anybody has any questions, we're happy to do that. Oh, Veronica. Geez, I missed one. Sorry. Veronica, you can step in and say hi. You don't have to do it remotely. You can't escape. Sorry. Miss Veronica. Sorry about that.
Program coordinator. I've been here 6 months and I absolutely love this department. So whenever you need something, please feel free to reach out.
And Veronica sits up front most days. So.
Most days, yes. The most interesting day was when the homeless person came in.
Yeah.
That was interesting, but we got enough. Anyways, it's nice to meet all of you, and thank you for making my job somewhat easier.
So with that, I think we're going to put up some animations that people can watch. And like I said, if you have any questions, you're welcome to talk to any of us about anything. We're here. We would like to see this, you know, opportunity to collaborate, you know, with whoever. So happy to do that.
Do you know that there are almost 50,000 public water systems and more than 16,000 publicly owned wastewater treatment systems in the United States?
What's the matter?
Clayton very kindly put subtitles on here so we can watch and enjoy without the sound.
And you can see his amazing work. We have puffy people so that we're trying not to have any group feel excluded or anything like that. We didn't want to have any, like, we're trying to be as...
You call them our bowling pins.
Yeah.
Like
As,
little Fisher Price.
Very diverse group.
and it's great because...
That's how it works.
I mean, what's interesting is he's been able to make it fun, so people like that have no interest in water and wastewater, even like I'll show them videos sometimes, they're like, oh wow, that's really cool, and they start clicking around. And the one that's I think are still our biggest is the how does your septic tank work?
People love that one.
Clayton's work is so good that other YouTube creators have actually stolen it.
Yeah.
Incorporated into theirs.
Yeah, we didn't realize. Well, apparently you can't on YouTube, which I didn't know. Like, you couldn't copyright it, right? You couldn't.
Oh, no, we've been copyrighting it heavily.
But I thought you said they were allowed to steal your stuff.
That one guy, for some reason, got away with it.
Oh, okay.
It's just getting the word out.
Yeah.
It's all part of the progress.
And we've earned what, $100 on YouTube?
No, I think we're up there. We're reaching 300.
Oh wow! Woohoo!
That's unrestricted, right?
Yeah. We have the camera's not still on, right? Because.
Actually, that was another roadblock that Steve really helped us with. We'd been told, no, you can't monetize YouTube, you can't monetize YouTube, and Steve was able to step in and talk to the right people. And get
Yeah,
us
and
the
EPA
yes.
said as soon as the projects are closed, which happens I think in November, it's our money. So we're waiting till November. And then we'll have $300. Woohoo! So we're going to try to figure out what the best way to spend our $300 is. Trip to Fiji or something out of it.
If you haven't seen these videos though, they really are pretty impressive. Like, I encourage you to take a look.
Yeah, I mean, and most of them are like less than 2 minutes. So it's like in a very short period of time. And he took the septic tank one was a 45-minute presentation, I think, and condensed it into like, what, a minute and a half or something like that.
Well, it really helps when I myself don't really understand any of the matter, so I can just like in the lane and be like, all right, what is this? What does this mean? And then break it down to just this. I think
Makes us wonder if we're not replaceable, because I could get you to make a couple animations and just not have to go anywhere anymore. But it's pretty cool how, like, one of the NMED people worked with us to do that animation and was just amazed that you could take 45-minute presentation, put it in 2 minutes, and it was like explaining exactly what he wanted. So I think he uses it in his presentations now. But he does presentations, that guy did presentations to the general public on how they worked, and was struggling to get the point across, but he felt like the animation really made it work.
This is the first one we ever made, and this is our working together for the first time.
Yeah, and Sammy, I think, wrote a lot of the script for this.
Sammy and Jody helped out.
This is where we learned from James how to tell a story, because he's like, you guys are talking like engineers. You need to talk like real people. So this is way, way, way different from the original that we had written. He's like, nah, no, that's not good. Start over. And we had about a 6-minute. He's like, nope, no more than like 2. I think this is maybe just slightly over 2. So it was a lot of fun just getting like feedback from other people that, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Say it differently. So, but anyway, you're welcome to look at any of the videos online. There's, how many are up there now? There's a lot. There's a lot. So.
And yeah, it's not just the animations too. It's some great educational content.
And podcasts. We created podcasts too, because some of the operators drive around a lot, and they were asking for a format that they could listen to in their car as they're driving around. So we've created some podcasts that, you know, if you just want to hear an oral presentation, you can do that.
I would also suggest James' video about the koi fish and the clarifier. That's really interesting.
Yeah, we showed that in American Samoan. They want to get fish. So there's. Fish are not normally in wastewater treatment plants. That's not a normal thing. But in Gatesville, Texas, they have these big koi. They're about literally like this big, and there's hundreds of them in the clarifiers. And they have some of the cleanest wastewater effluent I have ever seen. And I know the fish are doing something, because the tops of the tanks are beautiful. And the guy who put them there, I don't know how many years ago, 15 years ago or something. Yeah, it's like a decade now. He just liked fish, and he's like, I'm gonna put some fish in here, and he just threw them in.
What kind of species? Koi.
Just.
They tried a couple of different things in the koi, or what kind of
That's a great video.
they don't feed them, they don't do anything. There's just like 1,500 fish in each one of those tanks. Cool. Keep the water clean.
They just swim around, they eat the algae, and but the guy put them there not for any treatment reason, but just he thought they were really cool. And then I remember the first time we went there, I'm like, why am I seeing like orange and yellow like colors in there? Like,
in the water, yeah.
And the water's so clear, like normally it's not. Like you usually can't see much through a clarifier, and I'm like, there's fish in there. Yeah. So.
Can we get someone to study the PFAS removal or the function?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be interesting if they were able to, but way cool that they have them, and they said they, you know, because of the chlorine that happens at the end, like if they ever got out, it would have to be a little one, but if it ever got out, it would die from the chlorine.
There was one about this big in the chlorine raceway.
Oh, really?
It made it about 10 feet. You know, there was no chance it was going to get all the way through.
Yeah, with chlorine, they're not going to make it, because chlorine is really harmful on fish. So when they chlorinate, it's just, they're not going to make it any further than that. I wonder how it got out. Whoops. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. And again, you know, please